Welcome back to First Take, presented by Bass Pro Shops.
Tom, have you seen or heard about the cover of that Daily News, and how do you feel about people criticizing your relationship with Donald Trump?
I don't think about it much. I got a lot, it's a tough week, so I got a lot of football stuff to think about, and hopefully we can go out and beat the Titans. That'd be the most important thing for me.
You opened the door and talked about it there. You opened the door to some criticism. Do you regret opening the door when you do talk about it?
Like I said, I'm just here to play football. Thanks, guys.
I don't blame him. Brady dropping the mic after too many Trump questions. Stephen A., do you think too much is being made of this?
Absolutely. I definitely think it is. For a multitude of reasons. Just because we disagree with positions don't mean that we need to strip ourselves of common sense. What Donald Trump has said has riled a lot of people. There's no question about that. Here's how you respond to that. Don't vote for him. Don't have him leading in the polls. Plain and simple. But as it pertains to his individual personal relationships with specific individuals, like Tom Brady, why should Tom Brady be forced or compelled to answer any questions about somebody that he considers to be a friend of his? Are we aware, do we know that Tom Brady hasn't spoken to Donald Trump and said, I kind of don't agree with your assertions that you're going to deport 11.3 million illegal immigrants? I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's right. How do we know that he has said that? How do, whatever Trump's position is on Muslims, how do we know that Tom Brady hasn't spoken to him about that? And more importantly, why does Tom Brady have to tell us what conversations he's had with Trump, if any at all, as it pertains to those particular issues? I understand he's in the public eye. I understand he's a star. I understand he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the game. But specifically because the man has said that Donald Trump is a friend of his, you're asking him to violate his personal friendships with Donald Trump in order to elocute and articulate his position for the masses as to how he feels about some of the things his friend has said. And I think that we need to recognize that there are certain things that actually do cross the line. Tom Brady is under no obligation whatsoever to express his thoughts or opinions about the things that Trump has said. No matter whether he agrees or disagrees, it is entirely possible that he has disagreed with several things that Donald Trump has said, but just doesn't want to publicize that because that is his friend, and that's how it goes down. A lot of people may find that hard to believe. I find it hard that they find it hard to believe because there are plenty of people who express a thought and opinion privately to their friends about their positions without publicizing it. And that is what this comes down to. And by the way, regardless of what Trump's feelings are, I didn't hear a lot of people having problems with Trump until he was running for president and he expressed his views. It's entirely possible that he's friends with folks and they still like him and get along with him greatly, but had no idea that he felt this particular way and may choose to speak to him privately about it instead of publicly.
I agree with your take on this. Now, let's go back to square one. Let's talk about the difference between you and me. And the difference is you closely follow politics. I do not. Not on my radar. I just don't give it a lot of thought. I'm really into sports. I'm into a lot of other things. I have other interests, but politics, not one of them. You, and I've told you this many times off camera, someday you belong in a political arena, not running, but commentating. I
agree.
Yeah, you should be a political commentator because you have such a passion and an insight into it. And I feel like I restrict you on this show occasionally because I know you want to go on some of these big international issues, and I'm not there. I can't really speak to it because I'm not qualified and I haven't followed it closely. I believe Tom Brady is more in my world than in your world. And he said back in September, I haven't paid attention to politics in a long time. It's actually not something that I really even enjoy. ditto. It's way off my radar, said Tom Brady back in September. So I'm with you on this. I don't know that he's given a great amount of thought as he's been obsessed with his football and football team through this post-Deflategate season that he's been obsessed with. I'm just not sure he's given it a great amount of thought. I could be wrong about that. But to be fair, this all did start. I want to bring up a fair point. Remember, he was doing an interview, Brady was, in front of his locker back in September, and the media couldn't help but notice that up in his locker was one of those Trump, trucker-style hats, Make America Great Again. I guess, I don't even know, is that a campaign hat? I guess it is.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
All right,
it is.
Whatever, but he had one. I assume Trump sent it to him, and he got it in the mail at the facility and ended up just throwing it up in the top of his locker. So that jump-started all of these questions. I got to tell you, I'm impressed Brady hasn't lost his cool yet, because he's answered this question a whole bunch of times. He's gone on and on about, we're just friends. We're off-season friends, and I've known him for 15 years now since I won my first Super Bowl. They have played a lot of golf together. We all know Trump owns a whole lot of golf courses all over the world. One right in, right near Manhattan, as you well know. And it's obvious to me that Brady, in his off-season travels, has been able to connect with Trump at various golf courses around the world, because Brady loves his off-season golf, and so does Donald. He loves golf anytime. So I think that's what that relationship is, and I think he's been very open and willing to discuss their friendship, short of discussing Trump's politics. Well, a lot of players or superstars wouldn't even go that far. They would have cut it off a long time ago. And he tries to maintain sort of a healthy sense of humor about it and answer repeated questions. So I think he's gone as far as he needs to go so far.
Well, I totally agree with you. But see, when you point out the hat, you got to remember, you could have supported, put the hat on your locker and been in support of him until you heard some of his views.
Okay, maybe.
And they were foreign to you. That's entirely possible. Listen, Skip, I'm no friends with Donald Trump, but he's always been incredibly nice to me.
Got it.
Whenever he has seen me. He's given me interviews when I had the show, quite frankly.
Yep.
He's come on my radio show in the past, stuff like that. But I don't happen to agree with those two views that he put out there. I'm in a position where I can sit there and say, I don't agree that we should deport 11.3 million immigrants. I don't believe that we should ban Muslims from entering the country. But again, I can say that and still sit there and do my job. Tom Brady, everybody's acting like, oh my goodness, how could you not answer this stuff? And it's like, wait a minute. He's not a pundit. He's a football player who plays golf with the guy, and that's that. It shouldn't be anything more than that.
Okay.
It just shouldn't be.
Now, allow me to also be fair the other way. I still believe, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, there are a whole lot of folks out there who resent and even despise everything Tom Brady. And a lot of those folks still believe that he got away with cheating and lying about it, even though he was exonerated in a court of law. And I think that has a lot to do with the backlash here. Everybody's looking for a way to condemn Tom Brady, and this is another entry into that.
No, for me, Skip, I think what it is that you have a lot of people that get tired of athletes being in the public eye, endorsing products, using their star, their celebrity to monetize their brand, collecting so much money than most people would make in a lifetime, but then they're quiet on positions. We tend to hold star athletes accountable when they choose to be silent about issues that transcend sports. When they're not willing to do that while collecting money from the American public and filling their coffers, some people tend to have an aversion to that. I understand it. But in this particular situation, if the man is honest enough to tell you this is his friend, then what he's saying is he's staying out of it, because even if he disagrees with it, he might want to tell him that privately as opposed to hurting him, because that's not something you do to friends. And I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that.
And you don't have to be on board with everything your friends stand for, right? They had a relationship prior to him entering the political realm. That was a great conversation, guys. Very, very well said. Another day and another report that Dwight Howard is ready to jet from Houston. Are Howard's days numbered with the Rockets? The guys will discuss that after the break.